Today we're talking about the co-op games from 1999. But first, let's see what else was happening in '99. Silent Hill, Donkey Kong 64, Resident Evil 3, Ape Escape, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, Final Fantasy VIII. And for home consoles, the Sega Dreamcast finally came out in the US. And handheld consoles, Neo Geo Pocket, as well as the WonderSwan. Now let's talk about the co-op games. Gauntlet Dark Legacy, released in 1999, is the 6th installment in the Gauntlet series, building upon the foundation of its predecessor, Gauntlet Legends. Its expansion introduces new levels, characters, and features like combos and turbo attacks. Players can choose between slow, strong attacks and quick, weaker attacks, allowing for diverse combat strategies. Items, obtained in levels or bought in shops, provide temporary benefits. The game emphasizes decision-making and item selection. New abilities include blocking, charging, and strafing, offering defensive options and mobility. Gameplay involves navigating levels, defeating enemies, and destroying generators to halt enemy spawns. Some levels have maze-like aspects and hidden items, like legendary weapons and runestones, required for progression. Food replenishes health, while treasure can be used to purchase items. Gauntlet Dark Legacy retains the classic Gauntlet gameplay, while adding depth and variety to the experience. Jetforce Gemini is an ambitious third-person action shooter for the Nintendo 64, offering an epic quest, unique characters, and engaging multiplayer modes. While it boasts a variety of weapons and challenging boss battles, the game does have some inconsistent frame rates, but that's par for the course when talking about Nintendo 64. Its distinctive visual and sound design are some of the strongest features in the entire game. Once you get to a certain point, you're able to unlock the robot, Floyd, who can be controlled by a second player to assist player 1. Jetforce Gemini is truly one of the best experiences on the Nintendo 64. Twisted Metal 4, following the disappointment of its predecessor, brings notable improvements to the series. The level design is more engaging, with hidden areas and creative stages. While not as epic as Twisted Metal 2, the levels offer a satisfying gameplay. Controls and physics are better, though still occasionally unforgiving. Graphics, while not as sharp as the competition, have improved from Twisted Metal 3. The addition of new weapons, tournament contestants, and a create a car option enhances the gameplay. Boss battles appear in every level, but they lack the dread of past games. Multiplayer modes offer replay value, despite occasional frame rate issues. And like the previous games, the whole story mode can be played in split-screen co-op. Twisted Metal 4 is a significant improvement and a step in the right direction for the series. Armada is a shoot-'em-up inspired by Diablo. While the concept of Diablo in space is intriguing, Armada lacks the depth and customization that made Diablo successful. The story and some of the gameplay is a little bit repetitive, but the strongest feature is that you can play through the entire game in 4-player co-op. It's like if Asteroids had some RPG elements. Unfortunately, the execution isn't perfect, but this is such a unique game that it's worth trying out if you're looking for something a little bit more obscure on the Sega Dreamcast. Legend of Mana is a beloved follow-up to Secret of Mana, offering a captivating 2D action RPG experience set in the enchanting land of Fadil. While it might not match the epic scale of its predecessor, the game compensates with a wealth of personal stories interwoven into its narrative. Players embark on a quest to restore the shattered mana tree and rebuild the world, engaging in battles with various weapons and magic items, accompanied by a host of captivating quests and companion NPCs. The game also introduces pet raising and crafting mechanics, adding depth and customization to the experience. Player 2 is able to take control of your companion at any time. This has some of the most beautiful 2D visuals on the PlayStation 1, and a really great soundtrack as well. Legend of Mana is a must-play title. The typing of the dead is basically House of the Dead 2, but instead of guns, you use keyboards. It plays similar to those educational typing games, but in this one, when you type the words, you kill zombies for some reason. If you have 2 keyboards for your Sega Dreamcast, you can play it in co-op. And this game is just way better than anyone would ever expect. One of my favorites on the Dreamcast. Jammer Lammy expands on the music game genre established by Parappa the Rapper, but with its own unique twist. You control Lammy, a guitar-playing character, in a wacky 2D world, on a quest to get to your next band gig and build self-esteem through music. While the story may not be as engaging as its predecessor, the game shines with its diverse and complex music tracks. These tracks cover various genres, from rockabilly to speed metal, making it appealing to a broader audience than Parappa's hip-hop influence. While the soundtracks are a standout feature, the addition of cooperative and competitive modes, Parappa remixes, and other extras make Jammer Lammy a worthwhile addition to the music game genre. Zombie Revenge came out in the arcades and then later on the Sega Dreamcast. Similar to House of the Dead games or Resident Evil, this game provides some cheesy horror fun, with the same low-quality, campy voice acting. This is another really great 3D beat-em-up. It also incorporates some guns as well. Zombie Revenge is one of my favorite co-op games on the Sega Dreamcast, even though it's incredibly difficult at times. AArmorines Project S.W.A.R.M offers a unique twist to the first-person shooter genre, with its choice of 2 distinct characters, adding variety to the gameplay. And of course you could play through the story mode and split-screen co-op. While the environments may seem somewhat sparse, the absence of persistent fog and relatively smooth performance are noteworthy. Furthermore, the 2-player cooperative mode and multiplayer adds significant value, providing an engaging experience for players looking to team up. Although AArmorines is nowhere near the best first-person shooter on the Nintendo 64, it is a lesser-known game that's worth exploring. Ghoul Panic may not be as widely discussed as some of Namco's other titles like Time Crisis or Point Blank, but it deserves recognition for its unique charm and gameplay. This game came out in the arcades and then later on the PlayStation 1. With a family-friendly, horror-themed storyline set in a haunted house, Ghoul Panic offers both fun and spooky elements. The arcade mode, similar to the Point Blank series, offers a cooperative and competitive experience. The adventure mode adds depth to the gameplay, and the colorful graphics and charming visuals enhance the overall appeal. So if you're looking for a lesser-known light gun game, give Ghoul Panic a try. Expendable came out on the PlayStation 1 and the Sega Dreamcast. It's a top-down run-and-gun shooter. Although the gameplay isn't deep by any means, it's still a solid experience when played with a friend. However, some of the dark environments make it a little bit difficult to navigate. Considering that Contra never made a smooth transition into the 3D world, this might be the best alternative, as it's much better than Contra Legacy of War that came out on PS1. Bomberman 64, The Second Attack, has the same gameplay as classic Bomberman games. You throw bombs, you pick up upgrades, but what sets Second Attack apart is that classic gameplay is now put into a story and a fully 3D environment. You're able to get an assist character named Pommy, and this can be controlled by the computer or as a second player, and you're able to raise him by giving him food and whatnot. This is not the best Bomberman game in the series, but it is kind of a hidden gem when it comes to Nintendo 64 games with co-op. Definitely give it a shot. Street Fighter Alpha 3 originally came out in arcades in 1998, but it was ported to the Sega Dreamcast in 1999. This has the traditional one-on-one fighting gameplay of every Street Fighter game, but this version has an additional 2-on-1 option where you can play a co-op, where you and a friend team up against the various Street Fighter characters. I love seeing this in fighting games, and it's kind of a rare feature. I'm always excited to see this implemented in any fighting game. Giga came out in the arcades and the Sega Dreamcast in 1999. It takes place during a fictional war within a steampunk setting. It has really nice pixel art graphics. You could choose between 4 different flying crafts and shoot your way through 7 different stages, and each level ends with a boss fight. Of course, you could play it in 2-player co-op. This is a really great co-op shoot 'em up. So there's some co-op games from 1999. What games did we miss? And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our video from last week where we talked about the co-op games from 1998. And thank you for watching.